Well, I messed it up already. So those of us that are challenged in the keyboard chops department are happy that we have an option for step loading our parts. So we can do one note at a time with each pitch being perfect and each duration being perfect and no clams and the velocities are good. So let's do this. We find this in the Event menu, Event Operations, and Step Input. I call it Step Load because that's what I've called it for a very long time, but it's really Step Input. So we enable this, and our destination track is Bach. So why do I have this MIDI track down here? Show you in a minute. Notice how there is a vessel down here, a clip that already has notes and maybe is ready to receive more. And there isn't up here in Bach, and that's on purpose so that I can show you that when I tap the keyboard, it switches to the MIDI track. Even though I said, no, I don't want it down there, I want it up here in Bach. And I start playing notes and it switches to the MIDI because that's where it can hold notes. There's no place to hold notes up here in Bach yet. So, how do we fix that? Well, we just make some notes up here. And then I can enable and say Bach. I'm choosing eighth notes and so I played those last few on purpose slower. Let's be sure that we're only hearing Bach. Well, it's not Glenn Gould, but it's way better than I played it. And I now can go to the transport window, change my tempo to something that sounds like I have chops, like 180, and okay, so there's a clam in there, but you get the idea. We can load the parts one note at a time, and it sounds like we're performing it with better talent than we actually may have at the end of our fingers. Now, you can also do chords. I'm just going to select all these and erase them, and let's just put in another vessel here. Let's go back to Event and Operations and Step. Let's make these long chords. We're going to put them in Bach, and we'll just pick some chords here. So you can do more than one note. You have lots of ways to set the meter of what you're playing on the keyboard. Do you want the note length to be 100% of this value or some shorter note? You could play quarter notes and still have them count a whole bar. You can use the sustain pedal to advance over a spot you don't want. In other words, if you wanted this chord and not a chord, and then another chord and not a chord, you would hit the chord, sustain pedal, another chord, sustain pedal, and you're writing in blank space. The options for velocity are use what I tapped, which I certainly didn't want because my chops are not good enough to give the perfect velocity every time. So I'm setting each velocity to 64, and then I get a very even performance. So just remember that the gotcha is there has to be a clip there to hold the notes that you're giving it. Otherwise, it will slide over to the first available place that it actually can put the notes. And that's step input in Pro Tools 11.